I am renewed. I have a renewed sense of purpose and why, and I'm excited and I feel a calling to make this content to transform the youth sports world because what I see in club sports, club basketball is unacceptable. And I know it's happening in across all sports. So this is not just going to be just a basketball podcast. It's going to be about transforming youth sports in general. And, with that being said, I am never going to take the approach of calling out individuals and saying, hey, your program sucks. Like, I'm just never going to do that. I'm just going to provide data, and really help people think. Like, I want to help people think and rethink. You are listening to the Beyond the Scoreboard podcast, transforming athletes into leaders on and off the court with host Coach Furtado. Coaches, are you ready to take your passion for coaching and turn it into a full-time career? I know the challenges firsthand, but the Make Money Coaching Sports program helped me take BTG basketball full-time. If you're tired of juggling coaching part-time and want to fully focus on doing what you love, this business accelerator will give you the tools and support to make it happen. Hit the link in the show notes below to learn more and start living your dream. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Beyond the Scoreboard podcast, a new chapter. So, I have just returned from my honeymoon in Japan, and that has sparked me to rethink how I want to do the podcast. Now, I don't have the same time that I used to when I started the podcast. However, I want to keep this podcast going because I feel like it has real value for the youth sports, youth athlete influencers. And that's our target audience, right? That is coaches, parents, and administrators. Youth sports is $1 billion business now. It has been for quite some time. It's chaos. And I want this is going to be the podcast that cuts through the noise and quite simply is your weekly blueprint. This is the terminology, your weekly blueprint for transforming youth sports. And there's a lot of other great podcasts out there that are doing that. Once you have a $46 billion business, it becomes an opportunity for multiple people to become into this space. So with that being said, what does that look like? So instead of, in the past, what I would do is I would record, when I had time. The show is going to be live at 10 a.m. every Friday, Pacific time. I'm a little late here. I am just getting back kind of into the content creation space. This is the best avenue forward for me to create consistent content to give coaches, parents value. I understand, hey, I may not be able to go live at 10 a.m. That's fine. What we're going to do is we are going to essentially just have this be the episode that comes out on Wednesdays. We'll clean it up on YouTube. We'll post, we'll put together some clips. Sometimes it will be me solo. Sometimes it'll be me having a guest on, kind of like the classic Beyond the Scoreboard podcast. But this is the way forward. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm really excited for this first episode to be on the experience that I just had in Japan. And there are 3 things that are really reshaping and helping me rethink how I want to coach, how I really want to live. And we're going to start first with a story where, when you are on vacation, we have this set of ideas, right? How a day may look, right? We may go to, certain parks, right? So for us in Japan, it was going to different, temples, different shopping. We had this kind of whole planned out. Addie didn't feel good, which was, unfortunate. We were go, go, go. Now, obviously we're here, we're in, all the way in another country. It's like I had enough energy, right? And so I went on a bike ride along the river in Kyoto to a temple. And, one of the things that came to me as I was on that bike ride is water, right? And what does water do, right? Water can become ice. Water can be boiled. Water, if I went river rafting this summer, right? You can watch it kind of manipulate against the rocks. I live close to the beach, right? It shapes the beach. Water is adaptable. And I feel like that's one of the things that not necessarily I learned from Japanese culture, just from the experience of being there, right? We had, that's just one day. We had multiple days where, we had one day where we missed a train and it was my responsibility. And I just told myself water, right? Figure it, flush it, move on. And with that being said, I feel like that's something that's really important that we can take as coaches. So I want to, start asking questions in the podcast as well to help get you to think. There's so much information out there. I want to help you become a better thinker as well, because that's one of the things I'm going to try and do myself as a coach. I think kids, I think coaches, everyone needs to be asked more questions, more so than told things. We're getting told things all day. So my question for you, whether you're a coach, whether you're a parent, is, you know, what gets in the way? What's a word, right? It doesn't have to be water. What's a word? How can you remind yourself to be flexible, to be adaptable in the moment? That's my question to you. Now, number two, right? This is specific something from Japanese culture that I learned and I've taken away and I'm really trying to implement into my daily life is they live with an insane precision and intentionality. So what I'll talk about, especially in Tokyo, I feel like Tokyo is kind of the pinnacle from my experience, right? And I have a very limited experience and I could be incredibly wrong. But just like their metro, their train system throughout the country makes a ton of sense. But especially in such a big city, right? I live in Los Angeles, super spread out, right? We call it, it's a car city. You need a car. Well, I'd argue from my experience, again, I don't actually have the data. Tokyo seems to me just as spread out as Los Angeles. However, significantly easier to use public transportation to get around. Second, they have convenience stores literally on every block. Now we have convenience stores here in the United States, but imagine what is in the convenience stores in the United States. It's not what was in the convenience stores in Japan. I got my coffee there. I got my chicken there. You can get, grapes. It's healthier. And the last thing I'll say, kind of on intentionality, is just the quality. Just the quality of everything there was better. Like the quality of food, they have just higher standards. The quality of their parks, it's clean. There's no trash on the ground. It's really amazing. It's really remarkable. So for me, right, I'm taking that and how can we make every drill, everything that we say to our athletes, like intentional? You're like, there's no wasted, excess movement, whatever you want to say, right? Is the drill that you're doing, is it a drill that you've just done in the past? Is it something that you saw on Instagram, right? You saw at a coach's clinic? Why are you doing that? What is the intention behind the drill, right? Drill, whatever you say, right? Being incredibly intentional on that. That is something I want to, and I've talked about with myself, but it's like I got to see it on another level. And the last thing is presence. And I'll share another story. And we were in Hakone, which is a little mountain town close to Mount Fuji. So it was beautiful. We're at this beautiful ryokan, which is a traditional Japanese hotel. And we're drinking coffee, matcha, and I'm just looking outside. And there's just this older gentleman. He's just sweeping leaves, right? We're at the beginning of fall, early October, where he's just sweeping leaves outside. Now you can tell when someone is really like entrenched and focused in their work. And this guy, when I tell you, like it looked like the only thing he was thinking about was sweeping leaves, sweeping leaves. And they just take everything, right, with so much more pride. And that's like an additional thing. Like their work, right? Like if you're a sanitation officer, like you take pride in that. And here in America, it just feels like we're always elsewhere, and I may be maybe I'm just talking about myself. Maybe it's just me that sometimes that's elsewhere. Just about really being present. Like, so yesterday when I was at practice, right, just really trying to be present. And I know it's super simple. It's a lot of really simple things. It's nothing novel, nothing crazy new, but it's just like amazing to see it really come to light, and like, I know for me, if I'm raking leaves, I got a podcast in, I'm thinking about something else, like if I'm brushing my teeth or anything simple like that, right? We just let our minds drift. But that presence to like really be like moving those leaves like intentionally, so I think that's just something to think about in terms of my question for you on intentionality and presence is how how can you be more intentional in your daily life? Like, how can you be more intentional with your practices, with how you talk to your athletes? And then as far as presence goes, what, you know, daily rituals, drinking coffee, brushing your teeth, whatever it is, do you want to be present? Like, I'm talking about like actually like feeling the temperature of your hands, like genuinely listening, because we're so trapped inside of our heads. We just scroll, we're in our heads. Maybe I'm just me, but I'm sure there's some of you that definitely feel this as well. So, really excited to be back, really excited to grow. This year has been insane for me, between the growth of BTG, which has been incredible, marrying my best friend, going to Japan. It's been a lot. I am renewed. I have a renewed sense of purpose and why, and I'm excited, and I feel a calling to make this content to transform the youth sports world, because what I see in club sports, club basketball, is unacceptable. And I know it's happening across all sports. So this is not just going to be just a basketball podcast. It's going to be about transforming youth sports in general. And, with that being said, I am never going to take the approach of calling out individuals and saying, hey, your program sucks. Like, I'm just never going to do that. I'm just going to provide data, like, and really like help people think. Like, I want to help people think and rethink, because I'm actually reading this. It's a great book by Adam Grant here, Think Again. And it's just got me really questioning, the world we live in is so polarized, right? So polarized, Republican, Democrat. There's not a lot of nuance anymore. We don't really ask questions to the other side. We have our ideas and our opinions, and we're not going to change them. So, one of the things I just really want to focus on is asking questions, really being curious. And I feel like that's one of the things that's led me to where I am today, to be successful with BTG basketball. And I think it's something that I want to model for kids and create a space for kids to, one of the things that I think is they're just talked at all the time. How can we create spaces where we ask them questions? They're in small groups, they're interacting with each other, because I'm really worried and concerned about their communication skills. And I'm really concerned about the state of the world. And it's our responsibility as young people to prepare them the best that we can to be the next generation of leaders. So that's what I'll leave y'all with. Coach Furtado out. We're gonna remember. This is gonna be. I'm gonna go live almost every Friday around 10 a.m. We'll see how. Eventually, I'll get in that rhythm where it'll be right at 10, but there may be a little bit of an adjustment period, and then we will drop these on Wednesday. Again, if you are someone that is listening, want to be a guest, we'll do guests on the show. We're just recording at this time. Then we're going to post it the week after. Obviously, Thanksgiving's coming up. I do have a wedding coming up that I will be gone on a Friday. So it may not be every Friday, but we will be as consistent as we can be, because consistency is the key. All right. Coach Furtado out. Peace, y'all. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Beyond the Scoreboard podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure that you subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and share it with a friend, coach, or parent you feel like would get value from this episode. It's our responsibility to impact as many parents and coaches who are the ones that are impacting our athletes. That's how we create a ripple effect. So thank you for being a part of our community, and we look forward to serving you all next week.